I made this bumper for around $200 in material. I got this pipe at Home Depot. It is Schedule 40 1-inch pipe. That's all they had. I'd prefer to have 1.5 inches, but this is 1-inch pipe. I think you can get a 10-foot section of this pipe for about $40. I think I used around 20 foot or maybe 25, I can't remember. And then this piece here and this piece here is 3/4 inch pipe. It was about $15-20 or so for, I think, a 6-foot section. And then this here, the winch plate, I got at Harbor Freight for around $50 to $60, around that area. And what I did was I cut the end caps of the frame off, and I stuck the winch plate on top of that. I bolted it in, and then later on welded it in. So I used a flux core welder from Harbor Freight. I think I had a coupon, $100. Just a little tiny welder. And then I used a tube bender to get these bends from Harbor Freight also. It's a 12-ton tube bender. Comes with different dies, 3/4 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inch. I got that for $150 as well. But material wise, I'm in this bumper pretty cheap. I have never welded hardly before. I've never really been a welder. I've also never made anything like this in my life. So it's not really too bad to do. Now I wish I recorded the whole process of making this bumper, but I didn't know how it was going to turn out. So of course, I didn't record it. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to finish it because I had no idea. It doesn't look the best. There is some other things I wish I'd have done different, but it's done, and I'm proud of it. I made it myself. Like I said, I've never made anything like this before. So the winch itself is a Harbor Freight Badland. It's a 9,500 pound winch. I wanted to go with the Badland. I think it's the 12,000 pound winch or 12.5, I can't remember. I wanted it, but it was a little over $500. This one was $350, I believe. So of course it's bolted into the winch plate like normal, all that, whatever. I did add the cube lights, the light bar. I had to cut the grill out. This grill is a piece of junk anyway. I don't really care too much about it. I had to cut it, obviously, for the box to fit. These bends here was more of just a guess. I would bend it, and when I thought it looked good, I would cut the ends at an angle, kind of like a fish mouth, they call it, and tack it on. That's what I ended up doing. So yes, this winch plate is bolted to the frame, and it's also welded to the frame. So before I welded to the frame, I made everything, all these bends, got everything tacked in place, and then I unbolted it from the frame, set it in the floor, and I welded it up. Wanted to make sure it looked good in my eyes before I completely welded it. Now, I seen a YouTube short video from another guy. I will post that in the video here. And his video was saying how he did this. That's where I got the idea from. And I made mine very similar to his. It might be a little different in some of the way like the bends are. I think this push bar is a little different, stuff like that. So it's a little different. One thing he did that I wished I would have kind of done, he cut his corners off here at an angle straight back. I kind of wish I'd done that, but I couldn't really mount these on there. That had been mounted in here, and then this bend would have kind of blocked all that out, the light. So I left them on. It still doesn't look too bad in my eyes. I mean, for a guy that's never welded or made anything like this, it's not too bad, I guess. So on the grill hoop or the push bar, whatever you want to call this, whatever. I think I cut the pop around 60 inches or so. Marked my cuts. I wanted it to come up about 10 inches into the bends on both sides. So I marked it 10, whatever, bent it. Both sides. I laid it on the ground and made sure both sides was even. Now, what you could have done is take something like this level here, put it on the pop and bend it till you get your angle. So like right here is 45, you could have bent it till, about right there, and that would have been your 45. I didn't even do that. I just kind of would bend, take it off and look, see if it's about even, and threw it together. It turned out pretty good. I mean, it's not the best. It doesn't look that good, but if you already have, that's the welder, cheap little welder. And if you already have a welder and a tube bender, whatever, go spend $50 on a winch plate, spend $100, whatever, 150 on some pop, and do this. I mean, it beats spending whatever they are online, $600 to, well over $1,000 for a bumper. They might, look better, whatever, but I mean, if you make one yourself, hey, you made that, whatever. Be proud of it. I'm proud of this. So after all that, of course, I took it off, got everything welded all around, painted it. And then this spot here, I cut these, welded it down to the frame. So the only thing left that I'm probably gonna do is on the ends, I'm gonna weld something on this. So this is not open, so stuff can't get in there. Dirt, water, all that. You do that on both sides. And then I gotta get a piece of metal to weld over the end of the frame. And that's fluid film on it right now. I don't have any more metal, and it'll be a few days before I get any, so I just went ahead and sprayed fluid film all over it for the time being. But I am gonna close all that up, just like the ends of the pipe. Just cause this is schedule 41 inch pipe, like I said, it can rust, I'm sure. So I wanted to get all that closed up. The welds don't look the best. They really don't, but I've never welded before. It's a $100 flux core welder, no gas. So, and I tried. If I can do it, I believe anybody can do it, because I've never made anything like this, never welded. So let me get the tube bender. So here's the tube bender. It's a Central Machinery from Harbor Freight, 12-ton hydraulic pipe bender. Schedule 40 or 80. And the bumper is made out of schedule 40, like I said. So it comes with different dies. See there, that's a 1 inch. Here's the die, 1 inch die. You also got a 3/4, whatever. Pretty simple. You just want to make sure, like when you have your pipe in there, everything is straight, whatever. You don't want it to mess up and redo, because I've had to redo several things on this because I messed it up because that was crooked. Okay, here's a piece of pipe. Another thing I did, just to quickly show you, I would make a line straight down it. I would take a level, make a line straight down. So whenever this was in the pipe bender, I would keep that line, 12 o'clock, whatever. So every bend that I made on that single piece of pipe, this would be straight up, so it wouldn't make anything kind of offset or weird or anything. And another thing that I'm gonna do is right here, I'm gonna cut this out, weld pieces of metal down the frame, say, I don't know, I'm gonna try to get it in there at least 10 inches or so, and then also weld it to the bottom of the plate, and then weld this, cut this piece of say like an inch off of that, weld it back to the plate. So for extra support, the way this is welded to the frame already and bolted in, I did pull a small car with it yesterday, and it did fine. No welds cracked, nothing bent, nothing like that. So the way it is now, you could use it if you had to, but I am going to try to weld some gussets up underneath it and weld some plates down my frame, also to the winch plate for more support. I would definitely recommend doing that. But as it is right now, it's really solid. It's not going nowhere. And it looks pretty good. Just to show you that it's pretty solid. You know, I'm 6 foot, I weigh 190 pounds. It's solid, not going anywhere. Okay, so this is before taxes, obviously. So 1 inch, schedule 40, pop, 30 foot, that's extra. $40.76 per 10 foot. 3/4 inch, it's 4 foot sections of that. You can get it for $15.08. The winch plate at Harbor Freight is $49.99. The tube bender at Harbor Freight is $149.99. So before taxes, you're looking around $337.34. So the 30 foot of that is extra. Like I said, I didn't use 30 foot myself. I think I ended up using 20 foot. The third stick was just for extra. I've still got plenty of it over there. So I used about 20 foot of it. I didn't even use the 4 foot of that hardly. I had like maybe a foot left, if that. Of course, the winch plate and the tube bender. I obviously didn't have the winch plate. I didn't have the tube bender, so that's why I added that into that. But if you're just counting material, you're looking at $40.76 per 10 foot and $15 for your 4 foot of that. 4 foot of that. So all in all, not too bad. Pretty cheap. And it doesn't look absolutely terrible. I mean, it doesn't look the best, but I like it just because I'm in it myself. But as you've seen, it's really solid. It's not going nowhere. Especially you add in some extra supports at the bottom. You know, and this thing is not, it's not a show rig either. I mean, it doesn't look the best. I mean, I take this thing off-roading all the time, so it's gonna get beat up. It's gonna get scratched up. So next, I think I'm gonna use this same pipe, try to make some rock sliders and end up making a rear bumper as well. You know, it would be a lot better if this was 1.5 inches. It would look better. You know, probably be a little stronger, whatever. But this is all they had. Not too bad for Home Depot and Harbor Freight, I guess. And you could make it look a lot better too with it, you know. Somebody that's experienced and had a better welder. This is the titanium welder that I got at Harbor Freight. I think it's originally $149.99. I think you can get just about at all times, you can get a coupon for it to be $129.99, I think. So, you know, this thing is cheap. It's small. It's gasless. But it works. It done its job. It did okay. I had the voltage pretty high and the wire speed pretty high for that pipe, and it would still melt through it if you was, you know, holding on it too long in the same spot, whatever. But like I did say, I've never welded before. This is the first time I've ever welded. I've never did anything like this. Nothing like that before. I've bent pieces of conduit to 90-degree angles, which is stupid simple. You put the level on it and bend it until it's level, and then there you go, you got a 90. Other than that, I welded these ditch lock brackets up. But that's all I've ever welded in my life.